But when I was 10 years old, there was a rattle at the door, and I was actually asleep, but I heard my mother yell, "Don't come through that door, I'll shoot." And when she yelled that, I don't know how it happened, but the doorknob quit turning. When she cocked that hammer, it stopped. Now, I didn't know what the Second Amendment was then, but I was sure glad she had that gun. And I hunted when I was a kid. You know, I lived out in the country, and, you know, the closest friend was 1.5 miles away, so your closest friend became the shotgun, and we went out and hunted. I love to hunt. But that's not what the Second Amendment's about.
That's right. Right.
The Second Amendment is about hunting down tyrants.
Yes. Yeah.
Those that would take our rights by force. And I want to tell you, I have been in politics for a few years now, and we got to realize the media is our enemy. The mainstream media doesn't worship the same God we do.
Amen.
The media worships a God that they believe is in charge, and he's on Pennsylvania Avenue. And it's time we called them out for what they are.
Liars! We need no king.
No king but Jesus. That's what our forefathers said. So, I want to see what we're doing here today to spread out. This is grassroots. This is true grassroots. I knew about this earlier in the week. I didn't get invited to speak till yesterday. I didn't think, you know, people called me and said, "Is there going to be a turnout?" I said, "If there's going to be some patriots there, I'm going." Please look around and see who's here with you. If you look at the history of this federal government and what it's done, I don't think there's anybody among us that would defend slavery. I sure wouldn't. I think it was morally reprehensible. But you look at 1862 was the foundation of the IRS. Lincoln basically started, they didn't call it the IRS, but that's when it started. That's when the government started becoming God and taking over this country.
Absolutely right.
And I know, and I heard the comment earlier that there were some older people here. Now, I was born in 1970. So maybe some of y'all can help me out. What did you guys used to do to the bodies? I mean, obviously before 1960, before we had government health care, you had to be burning the bodies in the streets or something. Because surely we couldn't have had health care before the government got involved. And how did our families, how was anybody ever able to live into old age without the government providing for us? We used to have families and communities. I'm sorry, I'm going to get one of these bullhorns. What was that, ma'am? Well, now wait a minute. Is that a Chris Christie thing? And let me tell you. What's that?
Get rid of Monsanto food.
Well, I got to tell you about Chris Christie. I noticed what he said. Chris Christie's always been against assault rifles. Since the very beginning. I love that NRA commercial. I love it. And I love Hobby Lobby. We the people are standing up, and I got to tell you that those folks in there aren't going to stand up till you stand up. Because they want the vote. They want the vote. They'll promise you rainbow stew. They'll promise you 2 chickens in every pot. They'll promise you everything to get back in.
That's right.
So what you got to tell them is, you want your freedom. And if they won't fight for it, you'll send somebody in there who will.
That's right.
Because we got to get behind this 10th Amendment and fight for this 10th Amendment, because we don't want to have to use the Second Amendment. We're a peaceful people. But we will not be the generation that lost our liberty. People ask me all the time, you know, I don't know what I'll tell my children. I don't know what I'll tell my grandchildren. Well, I'm not going to have that problem because I'm not going to be here. I will lay down my life for my liberty just like my forefathers did. Because I believe in those same words about life is life so dear, is liberty so sweet. or his life so dear, he's so sweet to sacrifice liberty. And I won't do it. So let's stand firm. We got to fight them at the ballot box. We're not doing our job. We are not doing our job. We've got to be more educated. We got to follow these folks in here and the ones in D.C. Now, we've got to take the power back. I want to go over this a little bit. I was told how much time I had, and then, you know, when you're in the Senate, sometimes you kind of ramble, so forgive me, but I got a lot to cover. But you look at Washington and you look at Madison when we talk about nullification. Those guys were the founding fathers. Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence when he was 29 years old. These people were smart. All right? Now, we got Ginsburg running around the country saying we need to look to world courts when we decide cases. Kagan said that we need to look back to Supreme Court precedent, not the Constitution. And that's why Jim DeMint voted against her. And every senator in this country that votes for someone that will not protect the Constitution should not be reelected. We ought to primary them out. We need to continue this movement. We need to continue what we're doing. We've got to keep fighting because the other side is committed. Now, if you'll look, I did take a little hard about what Obama did with his executive orders, because he showed that basically he didn't have the guts to say what he was going to do. He knew that these crowds would swell, but he called on Congress to do what they can't do. This Second Amendment, this is part of the Bill of Rights, this is part of the compact that the original Connolly said, all right, we'll join if we have these 10 things. Now, our forefathers expected us to protect these rights. And that's what we've got to do, because if we don't protect them, if we don't fight for them, we'll lose them. So, I cannot believe the number of how Facebook just exploded on this. We're going to have hearings for my constitutional carry bill around the state. We're going to have one in Charleston. We're going to have one in Horry County. We're going to have one in Rock Hill, and we're going to have one in Greenville. We need huge turnouts there, so these guys know where the 50% plus one are.
There you go.
And we're getting this, the other side's going to gear up. I'm already getting emails about how I don't care about kids. I'm already getting hounded and all about that, but I've got 2 children of my own. And I'm going to tell you, if they were in one of those schools when this happened, I would love for a teacher to have had the ability to stop that lunatic. Amen. And the older generation, you guys, we're going to have to depend on you to explain it to the younger generation. Because you guys went to school when they taught you to hunt, when you had rifle clubs. This fear of guns has got to stop. We've got to fear the federal government. That's what we've got to fear. So let's all stand firm. I thank God y'all are here. I mean, this is a great start of what could be a movement. Let's get this bill passed in South Carolina. I get emails from all over the country. We're not alone. And it's not a geographic thing. It's all over the country. Texas is trying to take their rights back. Wyoming's trying to take their rights back. Now, these folks in here, they want to talk about things which are good things. I mean, it would be nice to have a more efficient government, although we've been working on a more efficient government since I've been here, since 88 when we first started trying to streamline government, and I'm all for that. But less government's way. And let me tell you this, people always say government ought to be ran like a business. Well, that's not true. Because the goal of a business is to grow. We should never want to grow government. Government is like weeds in your yard. You've got to constantly push them back or they'll take over. And that's what these guys are doing. They're picking winners and losers. They're controlling the economy. The guys at D.C. are controlling the economy, and we're $16 trillion in debt. And now those same guys that got us $16 trillion in debt says, let us manage your health care. The guys on military spending in the past have bought $100 toilet seats tell us, let's take care of your health care. So they're trying to finish this off. They're trying to finish this republic off, but I'm going to stand with you. I want you to stand with me. I love to have patriots come up here and just start something on their own. This is awesome, because you guys are going to have to lead this. You guys have to lead it. We don't have enough of them in there, and we don't have many at all up in D.C. So it's up to we the people, and that means you. So I thank God for you, and I appreciate you being here today.